So glad to be waking up with you. I'm Tim Pham.
And I'm Channing Curtis. Thanks so much for joining us here this morning. Well, let's talk the weather with Nicole Hernandez. She's joining us again today, and for meteorologist Thomas Patrick. Because Nicole, since you've been here, it's just been cold. We went from 70s with Thomas, and then all of a sudden you come in and it's cold. And I'm not saying it's you, but I'm noticing a trend.
Listen, I am the last person to like the cold. I'm from San Diego. I want it to be 70 degrees, but here we are. It is fall. We unfortunately have to deal with it. And coming with the cold also means later sunrises. So you can see, we can just barely start to see the peaks of light coming up over Coeur d'Alene right now. But with that, we can also see how thick our cloud cover is. That cloud cover right now is across most of our region. We're also a little bit chilly right now, like Tim and Channing were calling me out for. It's 36 degrees right now in the Spokane Coeur d'Alene area. And we are a little bit windy as well. Our winds are coming in from the south at 9 miles per hour, which of course will make things feel even colder than they actually are. Right now, Wenatchee's at 41, Moses Lake is at 38, Spokane's at 36, Coeur d'Alene is at 39, and Sandpoint is at 37. You can see all those cloud cover icons. That's because we are in the thick of cloud cover for almost all of our region here. Most of central, eastern Washington and North Idaho are covered in those clouds, but they do start to clear out nicely as we head out through the rest of our day, ending up with an actually sunny afternoon with highs in the 50s.
A traffic alert for you this morning. A two-car crash is blocking northbound State Route 395 just south of the Barstow Bridge. The road is fully blocked at this time, and drivers are advised to avoid the area. Washington State Patrol is reporting both drivers are going to hospitals with significant injuries. Law enforcement did arrest one of those drivers for vehicular assault. This is a developing story we're following closely. We'll bring you more updates as we get them. Happening today, Spokane City Council is holding a special meeting to approve a new operations contract for the Trent homeless shelter.
Now, the city announced that they are ending their contract with the Guardians Foundation at the end of the month. Last month, we reported a former Guardians employee was being investigated for stealing around $118,000 from the organization. The city told us that those fraud accusations did not play a role in their decision, but we are still asking them why they decided to part ways.
We received a statement from the city saying, quote, "Our top priority is to make a smooth transition so those that are using the Trent Resource and Assistance Center and Cannon Street locations can continue sleeping indoors with access to meals and services uninterrupted. The Salvation Army will take over and operate both the Trent and Cannon shelters beginning on November 1st. And after months of back and forth, we finally got the chance to speak to the state in person about clearing out the homeless encampment near I-90.
So representatives from the Department of Transportation and Commerce showcased the progress that's already being made. This includes fencing, increased security, and ID badges for people living at the camp, which is on state land. Just days ago, the city of Spokane and the county activated their own plan to clear out the encampment with an emergency operations center. The city expects the camp to be cleared out by November 15th. However, the state does not have a deadline.
We're pulling out all the stops, but it's going to take the time it takes to get that housing lined up. Otherwise, it's just going to have people scattered around the community, and that's not what the legislature chartered us to do.
Last month, the County Board of Commissioners approved a resolution to file a lawsuit against the state regarding the homeless camp. We don't know if that lawsuit has been filed, but we are working to get that information. In the meantime, East Central neighborhood agencies are also calling for the removal of the growing camp.
Some businesses say the camp's negative effects are spilling into the neighborhood.
Camp Hope, it needs to go.
The East Spokane Business Association held a press conference yesterday where people shared their stories. People who've lived in the neighborhood for decades say East Central is not what it was when they first moved in. The manager of the Fred Meyer on Thor Street says the illegal activity happening on his property takes a toll on his business.
We deal with drug transactions being done in our parking lot on a daily basis. This is being done in plain sight with no regard to who's around. Customers and associates have been assaulted inside and outside of our store on numerous occasions.
Most agencies express sympathy for people living at the camp, but many agree now is the time for it to come down.
It's 7:05 right now. Let's take a look at your morning rush. More news in less time. Police are investigating after an East Valley High School student was accused of assaulting a staff member yesterday afternoon. Deputies tell us that a female staff member went to check out some suspicious activity in the girls' bathroom and caught a girl vaping. When she went to escort the student to the office, deputies say the student hit the staff member and caused her to start bleeding. A resource officer was able to quickly get the student into custody. We have learned a teenager was the person who was stabbed near the Spokane River Tuesday night. According to the Spokane Valley Police, 2 teens were shooting a pellet gun near the river at East Indiana around 4 in the afternoon. The witnessing teen says that he walked away from the victim for a minute when he heard a scream. When he looked back, he saw a man dressed in all black running away. The teen was stabbed in the chest. As of this morning, they are in critical but stable condition. The Podium has been named the best new sports venue in the country by Sports Travel magazine. In the past year, the Podium has hosted big-name events like the USA Track and Field Indoor Championship and the USA Karate National Championship. According to Spokane Sports Commission, by the end of this year, the Podium will have generated more than $45 million in economic impact to the Spokane region. And that's a look at your morning rush. Well, Vice President Kamala Harris was in Western Washington yesterday.
The VP spent the day promoting new green energy projects and fundraising for fellow Democrats ahead of the midterm elections. The vice president was in Seattle to tout what her party calls the success of the bipartisan infrastructure law. The focus is on green energy, specifically when it comes to school buses. Harris formally unveiled new funding, $5 billion over the next 5 years, so that districts across the country can transition into more modern electric forms of transportation.
An investment for their ability, starting the next school year, to roll these buses out, to pick up our kids and take them to school. That's our announcement today.
Nationwide, 400 school districts will receive $1 billion in grants over the next year to purchase 2,500 of these so-called clean buses.